guys, what up? It's your girl Kabachibot, aka Chelsea, and I'm here bringing you another video. This one is a helpful one. It involves banking in Korea and some tips and tricks and advice that I can share and offer you, my fellow friends out there that might be moving here to South Korea to teach soon, or for those of you who have already landed here and are getting ready to start your new contracts. I hope this video serves you well. I wish that I would have known some of these things prior to moving here myself, but you know, this is what I'm here for. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to help y'all out because I loves y'all. Hopefully this video will help you become a little bit more prepared for the process when you get ready to go and open up your Korean bank account. I'm so well prepared, I wrote out notes. The top maybe 8 or 9 banks here in Korea include IBK Bank, stands for Industrial Bank of Korea. That's my bank. It's a government-run bank. The next up you'll see a lot around the city, especially in Seoul and everywhere in Korea, is KEB Hana Bank, so Korean Exchange Bank. Next one is Shinhan Bank. Then you have Wori Bank, Nonghook Bank, Citibank Korea, and KB Kookmin Bank. Alright, so those are the top 7 banks that you will see around Korea. A huge pro about Korean banking that I personally love is that it's hella convenient. Okay, banking here in Korea is for the most part easy and super convenient. They have lots of resources for you to access, like your ATMs, so your bank, wherever bank you have, you'll most likely see a lot of different booths set up around the city for that. When you're setting up accounts and whatnot is usually a lot smoother and quicker and more expedient and efficient than is that I have experienced in the States. All right, because back in the States, we all know how customer service can be. All right. Now, first things first, setting up your bank account. Now, most of the banks that I listed previously will offer at least 1 or 2 tellers in the bank that can speak English and communicate with English-speaking foreigners and help them with the process of setting up their bank account. Of course, you can always have your Korean friend or your boss or coworker accompany to the bank when you go to set up your banking information for the first time, just in case if you don't feel quite confident on your own, then you can have them as an additional resource to help translate some things for you. Now, me personally, the first time when I went to have all my information and everything set up at the bank that I was going to be using, my boss dropped me off because he had an errand to run. He was going to come with me, but he was like, "You got this, girl. I trust in you to get this handled." And you know, I'm pretty confident in myself anyway, so I was like, all right, cool, whatever. We're back in the States when I was setting up a bank account at Bank of America. The process of getting my debit card took a while. I know that there you have to wait for them to mail it back to you, and then you have to call the number on the back of the card to activate it. And I know in the meantime, before my actual debit card arrived in the mail, I had a temporary card that they issued to me that I could use for the week while I waited for my real debit card to get here. So, you know, compared to America, Korean banks are so fast and they're so expedient and just efficient. Because setting up my bank account here on the first time that I was in there setting up everything, I got my debit card at the same time, and it was already activated, so I didn't have to call any Korean number or anything like that, which is great, I must say. You get your stuff so quick here in Korea when you're banking with them, and also setting up your checking account is pretty expedient and quick. You will pretty much have maybe 35 or 40 minutes that you spend in the bank with your teller going through all of the paperwork and then filling in your information, and then boom, you're out of there, right? So, I mean, and maybe not even that long, 30 to 40 minutes might be on a, you know, busy peak time during the work day. And I will say another interesting thing about Korean banks compared to American banks is that, you know how in America you can't just go up to a teller and touch them necessarily, because there's either a glass screening and then there's that little cutout in the bottom that you slip your money through, or you slip your card through, your checks when you're inside the bank banking. Well, here in Korea, completely different. You walk into the bank, you press the little thing telling the machine what type of business you want to have done. It gives you a ticket, you see the number. Once your number is called up, you go to that designated station where the teller is sitting. It's like an office. inside Korean banks, and you go and you're literally sitting like right across adjacent from bank tellers. And it's interesting because my personal banker, like she at my bank, she asked me this. She said, oh, what do you think about Korean banks compared to American banks? Like, do you think it's different? And I was like, yes, girl, it's definitely different, because if I was trying to rob you, I can just jump across this desk right now. And they have the little money counter thing there, and they have their little drawers with the cash. So I mean, I'm not trying to be like malicious or evil or anything like that and say that that's what I think about when I go into Korean banks, is robbing them. No, that is not what I think about. But I'm just saying, you know, they have a lot more of low security in a way at Korean banks, and a lot more trust in their citizens to act right and to not rob the place all the time. So I think that's really refreshing, and one thing that I do appreciate about Korean banks compared to American banks. This part is important. Bring these items with you when you are setting up your Korean bank account. The first thing you're going to want to bring with you is your ARC card, which is your alien registration card, okay? This is also important to bring with you is your passport. Yes, your alien registration card, if you have that issued to you already, is useful and should have all the information they would need. But just to be on the safe side and to have a backup form of verification and whatnot, bring your passport. On the back of your ARC card, you'll have your living address written out in Korean. If you don't have your ARC card yet, then you need to ask your boss what your address is, have them write it out on a piece of paper for you so you know what to say and what to show the teller when they require your address for a lot of the paperwork. And then also you want to make sure that you provide them your cell number. So if you don't have a Korean cell phone number yet, then temporarily you could use your school's number, or for me in my case, I think I used my boss's cell number. And it's not like they're gonna call and like tell them all of your personal information. It's just to have it on file when they're setting up your initial application for the account. And of course you can always go back and update all of your information and change what you need. And because they want to have proof that you're not some floating nomad hitchhiking your way across, you know, East Asia, setting up bank accounts here, there, and everywhere, they require you to bring in a copy of your school's contract or your work contract, you know, to have proof that you are working and are going to be getting a reoccurring paycheck during your time spent here in Korea. And, you know, of course, you just ask your employer to provide that for you. They should already, if it's a school that has been hiring foreign English teachers on the regular, then all of these they should brief you on anyway, and, you know, prepare you for and help you get, such as your ARC card. Like, that's one of the main things that your employer helps you get when you first get here within the first 2 weeks. Should be, at least, should be, okay? So yes, that's what you'll need to also get is a copy of your school's contract. I had my boss fax it to my bank. My bank is down the street from my school where I work, so it's very convenient. And I just texted him and I was like, hey, can you send me or fax to the bank this document? And he was like, yeah, sure. You know, so just ask your boss. Additionally, now this may or may not apply to you depending on what type of bank you end up having and setting up your banking account with, but there's this thing called employment certificate, and this is different from your contract, like a copy of your contract, but it still shows that you work for your school. It works for them as like an additional form of verification, and sometimes your bank might request to see this. So after completing everything on your application at the bank, they will set up your checking account, and everything is pretty fast and efficient. Issue your bank book and your debit card within minutes, and they don't play. Like, they get you your stuff so you can get in there and you can get out, and that's what I love. Thank you, Korea Banking. Like, you make it such a pleasant experience. I don't feel like I'm going up in there with a headache, leaving with a headache. Yes. So this is an example of what the bank book looks like. Of course, my bank is IBK, so yours, whatever different type of bank you might end up getting, might look, of course, a little bit different, but they're all virtually the same bank book. They have the barcode strip, a magnetic strip on the back of them, because these you actually can open up and insert into the ATM machine, and it will write out kind of like a note memo copy of what your transaction was that you did, also how much money you have left in that account, or how much money you just transferred to another account. So I think this is really cool. I never used I don't even think they have this like bank books back in America. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but I never used any back in America bank book. I always just had a debit card for all my banks back in the States. But yeah, I'm not going to open up the first page because it has all my personal information in it. But yeah, so this is what the bank book looks like. And then also this is what the debit card looks like. I'm going to have to cover up personal information, but this is what the debit card looks like. If you can see it on camera, there you go. And yeah, so the next thing you also might want to do is set up a remittance account. Now, a remittance account is an account that you put your money in that basically will automatically wire the amount that you put into it to your home bank account back in your home country, wherever you're trying to send money to. It's a more efficient and easier way than just coming in and wiring small amounts of money here and there. You would choose to open up a remittance account because that way you can just put in the amount that you need and don't have to worry about, you know, having to come in at a certain time before bank close. I know for my remittance account at my bank, it's set on a, as long as I deposit more than 50,000 won into my account. So say for instance, like the minimum that always has to stay in that account is 50,000 won. So I just put like however much money I'm going to be sending back to my home bank account in there. And by closing hour for my bank, which is around 4 p.m., then everything that I put into that remittance account will be automatically wire transferred, and that's on a recurring basis. Now you can also set it up where you have once a month a certain amount that will be taken out of your account and transferred over. So it depends. It's really customizable to you and your preferences, which is what I love because, you know, everyone has different needs. Maybe you're trying to pay off credit cards, loans. What you'll need while setting up your remittance account is definitely your home bank's address, your SWIFT code, your bank account number, and their routing number. Okay, 4 things right there. So you're going to want to make sure you have all that information with you in advance prior to showing up to set up your remittance account or open it. And also what my bank did for me is they issued me a second bank book, just like the one I showed you earlier, except it's for the remittance account. And with that, I can track and keep in order how many transactions I've done with wiring money over. So every time I wire wire transfer money out of my main checking account into that remittance account. So when I get ready to send money back home to the States, I just put in my second bank book in the ATM machine, and it automatically scans and reads it, and it'll update all the information of the transactions that I completed for that session or that day. And it's just really efficient, helps me keep organized, keep track of my money, what I'm sending across, how much I'm sending across. And you can also, like, you know, make sure that the exchange rate is good that day, because it helps when you're like not losing money, obviously. Because all right, next thing, paying bills here in Korea. Now hopefully you have the hookup. All right, I hope your employer got you the hookup where you don't have to pay rent for your apartment. And most of you guys, if you're working as an English teacher here, will have your housing provided for, or you'll have a housing allowance that will, you know, help you pay on your rent for the month, and you just pick where you want to live, etc., etc. Now, for those bills, typically you will have your Wi-Fi, cable, electricity, water, and your apartment maintenance fees. Okay, me personally, my employer covers, I believe, my Wi-Fi, cable, electricity, and water already, and I pay for like heating and cooling and my building maintenance fee. And to be honest with you guys, like my bills has never been astronomically high. Like the highest bill I've had here in Korea thus far, and I've mentioned this in one of my previous videos, was when it was winter time and I had my Undul floor heating system on full hail inferno blast and heat because I get cold easily. And the bill for the end of that month was like 70,000 won, which is like what, $68 for a whole month, and I was blasting that heat the whole time. So yeah. Oh, and also gas is another bill that you might, you know, get if you don't have your employer like covering that for you. So what you can do to pay your bills, like cell phone bill, if you have a Korean cell phone here, is you just take your bill invoice or the bill statement, and you can go to any ATM machine and pay your bills. And just need to make sure that you either can read Korean to read your bill statements, or have like it already marked out and highlighted what banks those bills require you to transfer the money into in order to pay on your bills for those accounts, because everything in your statement is going to be written in Korean, obviously. Or you can have a friend help you translate it, then that's fine too. Another helpful thing is that the Korean bank tellers will also help you show them your bill statement, and they will arrange it where, you know, it will be paid from your bank account, the money that you have, and they'll pay on your bills, and they'll help organize all that for you. So if you get confused doing it at the ATM yourself, or you can't read your bill statements, you can just always take them inside the bank, and a teller will help assist you. Online banking, okay? Online banking is a headache here in Korea. I will say that is one of the cons. It is quite difficult to find a bank that is foreigner friendly when it comes to online banking, and that means that, you know, it's a system that's fairly easy to utilize and also has an English option, an English version. Now that's one thing that got me though, because I'm so used to doing like online banking on my like Bank of America app, like from back home, and everything that I, you know, pretty much do transferring between accounts, I just boop, 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 on my phone, right? Like real quick. But here in Korea, especially with my bank, everything is in Korean, even their apps, and they don't have it where it's offered in English or any other languages for the most part, and it would just be too difficult for me to navigate and learn all the terminology I would need to learn in order to efficiently use the app to do my online banking. And honestly, I just want it so I can just check my account on the go, you know, to see how much money I have in my checking account without having to like go into an ATM booth or find like my bank or something like that and go inside and inquire and get the little receipt and thing. I just want to look it up on my phone. And of course you can have your friends help you set up an account, or if you're confident in your ability of reading and understanding Korean, then go for it. Most places have, of course, most banks here have like great online banking for Koreans to use, because the Koreans love it. They think it's super efficient, it's super easy. And I've also heard that KEB Hana Bank is probably one of the better banks when it comes to foreigner relations. Like, they help out their foreigners a lot and provide a lot of useful resources for their foreigners. And their online banking is a little bit better than any of the other banks that I listed previously in the video. Also, one thing I will point out and note is that if you use Mac and Safari as your browser on your Mac, then a lot of the interfaces on Korean websites probably will be a little glitchy or won't work as efficiently, because they're used to having everything acclimated to Windows, using Windows to access their sites, and their you know, like for logging in and to like checking your banking stuff. So that's one really hella annoying thing. If you don't have a regular PC and you have a Mac, then you might be a little SOL there, or it might be even 10 times more cumbersome and difficult for you to navigate online banking here in Korea. Okay guys, thanks for watching this video, and as always, if you have any questions about anything discussed, please comment in the section down below, ask me, and if I don't know the answer, I will give you some good links or other places for you to find the information hopefully that you're looking for. Leave a like and please subscribe. Follow me on Instagram if you so wish, and I will see you in the next video. Annyeong!